My name is Sela Singh. I was born February 28, 1970 in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. Firstborn of two young parents, Kim Hyung and Cyan Singh. My father was a captain of the Air Force. And my mother stayed home and took care of me, and later my sister Sarita, who came into this world in 1973. When I was around 3 years old, I had this fascination with the Apollo missions when they were being televised. I'm told I was really just all over the screen, all over the television, just screaming the word Apollo, right? So then later on, naturally I was given the nickname from the parents and everyone older, Apollo. And that name stuck, but they would pronounce it Apollo, which is the Khmer way of saying it. It basically stuck until I was about, my teenage years. And funny enough, when I reconnect with my parents' old friends, like people that knew me as a little boy, they wouldn't know me with my full name, my current name. They would still call me Apollo. That's how they would remember me. And it would always make me smile. When I was about 4 years old, I spent most of my days with my father at the Air Force Base. It was like take your kid to work, but every day. After all, it was Cambodia in the 1970s. The war was right next door in Vietnam, and the rules went out the window. I remember flying in small planes, just me and my dad, from place to place. But the day I remember most vividly is the day I asked to go up on a Huey helicopter. My dad said absolutely not. But his fellow pilots, his buddies, his friends, and again, everything is so relaxed and, it's Cambodia without the rules on a military base. Well, my dreams could come true as this 4-year-old asking to get a joyride on a Huey helicopter. They grabbed my father, though, because he protested. He didn't want me to go, and they put him in a locker, and they closed the door. He pounded from the inside while his buddies basically strapped me in the middle seat of the helicopter. Side doors were open, and it took off. And I can still to this day remember the feeling I had of that ride. The helicopter went up and it banked left and it banked right, and giving me the thrill of my life. I had the biggest smile on my face. When we landed, my father came out yelling, screaming. He wanted to beat up every single guy who took his little boy on this helicopter. Instead, he just grabbed my arm, tugged me away, and had some choice words to say to his colleagues, his buddies, other pilots, and all that said, I was still smiling from ear to ear. Life in those days were fairly easy. I was a normal kid, running around the neighborhood, getting into trouble, being a little rascal. And I remember just running away from my mother when she was trying to chase me to spank me. I was just a fast little kid, just maneuvering or outmaneuvering her and just hiding in places, and everything was just normal for a little kid. Except one day. This one day, something changed. I was standing on a dirt road. I remember a rice field soaked with water, a few palm trees in distance, very flat. And then I felt it. The ground began to rumble. Over the horizon, bombs were being dropped at an apocalyptic rate. I was holding a whole baguette, its bottom touching the ground because it was as tall as I was. The earth shook and shook. Even as a 4-year-old boy, I knew life would never be the same. In 1975, we were living in Siem Reap. The place where we lived is known as the Royal Palace. During the war, the royals, the monarchy, had fled Cambodia for safety, and my grandfather, Brigadier General In San, had occupied the home legitimately. I remember that residence pretty well. It was enormous, an enormous palatial space. I remember playing near the river. I remember my grandfather hosting diplomats and political figures, men in suits I didn't have yet any words for. There was a weight in those rooms that a 5-year-old could feel but could not explain. On April 17, 1975, Phnom Penh, the capital of Cambodia, fell to the Khmer Rouge. We knew exactly the trouble was coming. My grandfather, my father, my uncles, my entire family had been fighting them for most of my 5 years of life. To the Khmer Rouge, we were the enemy. We had no choice but to run. We packed only what was necessary. My father, a military man, took guns, water, and food. My mother, thinking about the life ahead, brought jewelry, jade, diamonds, gold, and a large suitcase filled with reals. That's Cambodian currency. 30 kilograms of money, packed like something out of a cartel movie. We drove as far as the vehicles could take us, then abandoned the trucks and went on foot. There were 10 of us, my mother, my father, my grandmother on my father's side, me and my sister, my favorite uncle who's 22, 2 more uncles ages 20 and 14, 2 aunts, 18 and 16. I don't remember how long we walked. Maybe a day, maybe 2. I held on to a water jug and stayed very quiet. I had made up a story in my head that if I made a sound, if I cried, the bomb would land on me instead of just shaking the ground beneath me. It makes no sense now, but that fear kept me silent and kept me safe. By the end of our journey, I was praised for being such a good, brave child during our escape. I wasn't brave. I was just terrified. When we were about half a day from the Thai border, we heard soldiers moving through the jungle path. We all froze. It didn't matter. They found us anyway. 2 Khmer Rouge soldiers in black, red Kama scarves around their neck, Russian-made AK-47s pointed directly at us. We offered them everything, jewelry, cash, all of it. They refused. They said where we're going, there was no use for worldly things. Then they pointed to my 2 aunts, 18 and 16 years old, both beautiful, both radiant, and said they wanted them. My mother stepped forward. She walked right up to those 2 boys with rifles and she spoke to them. I don't know what exactly she said, but whatever it was, it came from somewhere beyond this world. The soldiers exchanged hard words, and then they walked away, empty-handed. They went one direction, we went the other. That same day, we reached the Thai border alongside hundreds, if not thousands, of desperate Cambodians. We were finally going to be safe. It was there at that border that my father and his younger brother made a decision. They said they had to go back. They were soldiers. They had a homeland to defend. My mother stepped forward again. She told my father, "If you leave, you will die, and we will die without you. We need you. Please stay." My father stayed. His younger brother, my uncle Puan, had no family of his own. He went back into the jungle alone. He was the best uncle I've ever had. Always smiling. The way he made me feel loved, protected, like everything was going to be okay. I still carry that feeling, even though I was barely old enough to form real memories of him. Bhuvan, you are still in my heart. I can still see your face, and it looks like mine. When I was in my 20s, thank you for walking us to safety. I wish you had stayed. We later learned that my grandfather, Brigadier General M. San, and my uncle Bhuvan, and many others in our family who were military, they were executed. Many more were taken to the killing fields, where they spent the next 4 years, starving and tortured. My father, had he gone back that day, would have been killed within the week.